All right, everybody. Let's see here. Do I want to put more light on me? Nah, I think I'm good. All right. But let's move the microphone a little closer so you can actually hear me. Ooh, let's. Hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty centered. All right. So I'm back from my vacation. Hopefully, some of you have been checking out the. Ooh, my camera's doing that autofocus thing again. I need to figure out how to hack that and make it stop doing that. Thought I had that fixed, but it looks like it wanted to refresh that. So that looks like a setting that it tries to be helpful with. I hate it when software does that. When they make it so that our phones and everything try and outthink us and then cause problems. My phone just totally rebooted, and I had to forced a factory reboot, and I had to spend days trying to fight with Google because kept trying to be helpful. Ugh. The workers at Google should feel very lucky that I was not able to get a hold of any of them, because I would have probably ended up in jail. Especially if I knew for a fact any of them were involved in that software, trying to be helpful, like this camera is with its stupid, annoying autofocus. I hate that. Stop autofocusing. So I got to remember how to fix that, because that needs to be disabled. That is the worst feature I've ever seen. Come on, man. Is there a way to stop that? I cannot remember how to stop that. So I guess we're stuck with this. Thanks, Nexigo, with your stupid autofocus. So anyways, I am reviewing Nightside Bourbon. Not sure why this is reversed. That's bizarre. Need to fix that too. Nexigo, if that is your real name. Yeah. Autofocus is distracting. So here we go. Now I've been, as you can tell, this is the last of the bottle. We are empty. I've been drinking on this the whole week, and been trying to figure out what it is that I was tasting. The main tasting note that I've been sensing, and it's not pleasant. Hey, Cybon 149. Yeah, it's not pleasant. I was not a fan. Of course, I drink everything neat, which means no ice cube, no nothing. I always try and drink it neat to truly experience the whiskey. And this had a bigger kick to it, and than a 90 proof should. Part of that might be because of the rye. I think part of it may be because there was maybe a slightly liberal cut to the heads and tails. And I'm not sure what else. It doesn't say straight bourbon. It just says bourbon. And as we all know, bourbon, the term bourbon by itself does not constitute an age at all. So I don't know how long this has been aged. If it was at least 2 years, it would probably say straight bourbon. And if it was a bourbon and bond, it'd be 4 years. But I don't know. It could be 2 years, and they just don't want to list it as straight bourbon. Just like Jack Daniels doesn't want to be listed as bourbon, even though it's pretty much bourbon. But the one thing that really, I think I need to have a drink mixing kit, because there are sometimes bourbons like this, and I think there was one called 2-Star or something, that are not great, neat, but they really make me curious of whether they would taste good in a Manhattan or an old fashioned. So, and I think maybe Nightside Bourbon might taste really good in uh, a Manhattan or a an old fashioned. I also need to make it well known that I normally don't review whiskeys before I review them. I want my review to be untainted of other people's opinions. This one I did research because I wanted to see, God, could somebody else name that tasting note that I'm trying to nail down? No. And in fact, what I found was I am the only one that has ever said anything slightest bit negative about this whiskey. So this is a very, very beloved whiskey. Um, and everybody I could possibly find disagreed with me. So let that be known. That needs to be very clear. So this is my opinion. I think I'm the only one on the planet who feels this way. But it is not a bourbon to taste neat. I predict that it probably would taste really well in a very good mixed drink with just a slight bit of, I mean, something that's not real sugary, not something that's not really fruity, but something that just needs something with that bigger kick to cut through whatever you mix it with. And so that's why I say Manhattan or an old fashioned. Any whiskey worth its salt, you don't want to mix it anything more than something like that. So it's an insult to the whiskey as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I did finally figure out something. You ever eat a walnut and and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, ugh, that's kind of bitter. That's kind of looks like that walnut went bad or something. That's kind of what this tastes like. It's got kind of a watery mouthfeel. My wife kind of pointed this out, and once she pointed it out, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's got kind of a watery mouthfeel, but with this, I don't know, in the finish, it's just really big kick, and it's got this taste that that overpowers everything else, and it tastes like a walnut gone bad. So the nose is a little too antiseptic, I think, which is why I lean towards maybe part of the problem is that this has got too liberal of a cut on the heads and tails. Yeah, so but despite that, like I said, it gets rave reviews from everyone else. So I just may be picky, and maybe I'm just getting spoiled from really good bourbons. My wife's been picking out bourbons for me and tossing them at me and leaving them on my shelf here, and got some really good stuff that I'm really excited to try. But yeah, so this is a Nightside Bourbon. I think you guys should all give it a try, and it is it's kind of hard to find, but if you're in Washington State, you might be able to find it at Total Wine, or there are links in the description of this video that will send you to Nightside Distillery themselves. And so you can just go right up to the distillery. It's a very interesting distillery to go to because it is the smallest legal distillery that I've ever been to. I will say no more. And yeah, so very interesting distillery to go to. The guys running it are wonderful guys, which is why I feel kind of bad saying anything negative about it. But I got to be honest, I'm not a fan of this whiskey. So this is my final drink of Nightside. Yeah, a little bit too much of a kick. So anyways, that's my show for today, for this week. And we got some great what you see in the background right there. That is basically a Japanese bourbon. Now we all know that if it's not made in the United States, it can't be called a bourbon. But looking at the bottle, it's basically a bourbon, and there's some other whiskeys behind it that I will also be trying that seem very interesting to me. So got some really interesting stuff coming up. So be watching. I'm going to try and make these. This is a late broadcast for me. I usually try and do these Sundays at 8 p.m. And so 8 p.m. Pacific as opposed to 10 p.m. Almost midnight. So anyways, that's the show. And let me know in the comments what you think of Nightside Bourbon, and tell me, am I the only one who is not a fan of drinking it neat? And if you've had it in a Manhattan or an old fashioned or any other mixed drinks that you think it works well with, let me know about those in the comments as well. And if there's any whiskey you think I should try, put that in the comments. So anyways, that's it for Nerds Drink Whiskey. Remember, always sip, never slam. See you next week, 8 p.m. Pacific, I promise.